Begin Podfix Network transmission. In 3, 2, 1.
Whether you're fly fishing in a stream, getting those ankles wet, or deep in the ocean casting nets, fish nerds. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. It's a podcast.
It is a podcast. Hello, fish nerds. Clay Groves here, Chief Executive Fish Nerd, licensed fishing guide, your best friend. It's the Fish Nerds. I'm so happy to be here. It's November 1st, and that means it's National Podcast Posting Month. I think it's our 4th year doing it, where every day this month we'll put out a brand new podcast to celebrate National Podcast Posting Month. And, sorry, I'm drinking some Wyoming whiskey right now, and it's a nice feeling in my mouth, and I'm kind of savoring it right now. And so the way we're doing it this month is one of our listeners recommended we do a fishing disasters month, or fishing stories about things gone wrong. So I'm calling this episode this month, Fishing Ruined My Life. What I want is stories about fishing gone wrong. Could be funny, could be tragic, could be a minor inconvenience. Could be, it's pretty broad. Things that go wrong during fishing is what we're going to be doing. So I'll tell some of my own stories. I'll pull some stuff from the news, but I would love it if you sent me your stories. And there's 2 ways you can do it. You can call us, 607-378-FISH, and you can put it right on our voicemail, and I'll use it on the show. If you've got a product or something you need to plug, I'll let you even have a free plug if you want that. You also can email clay@fishnerds.com, and I'll get it that way. And better if you record it than if I record it. So if you have a phone, you can use your voice recorder function, push record, tell your story, and then I'll use it. If you write it to me, I'll read it, but I may embellish a little bit. So if you want your story told right, tell it yourself. 607-378-FISH or clay@fishnerds.com. It's super duper simple. So the first story I'm going to tell of the month, my first story about fishing ruined my life, is, a long time ago. And I told the story on the podcast before, and I'm going to repeat some stories because I can't remember, I don't know if you've listened or not. So the first story, this is, I once got fired for fishing, probably more than once. But this story happened, I think, in the late 90s. I was driving for Domino's Pizza, so I was a pizza delivery boy. And I had the big plastic Domino's light on the roof of my car. And I was driving in a town called Derry. And by the way, I enjoyed delivering pizza an awful lot. Although this is before GPSs, so we had to read maps. So sometimes we get lost. And I was driving by a lake in Derry, New Hampshire called Beaver Lake one day. And I had 2 pizzas in the passenger seat of my car. And I drove by it, and I saw fish feeding on the surface, bass feeding on the surface. And I always keep a fishing rod in my car. And so I thought, well, I'll just stop just for a minute and do a couple of casts. So I stopped, the meter's running. I got the pizzas in the car. I made a couple of casts. I caught a fish. And then I was like, okay, just a few more casts. And you know how it is when you're fishing. Time goes by. And I guess a lot more time than I thought went by. And I don't have a cell phone at the time. This is before I had cell phones, so no one could call me. But another car pulled up next to my car. And it was another Domino's pizza delivery car. And the driver got out, and it was my boss. And I was like, oh, no, I'm in big trouble now. And he didn't say a word to me. He just walked over to my car. He opened the door, and he took the warming bag of pizzas out of my car and put them in his car. And then he walked back over and took the light off my car and put it in his car. And he drove away. And I never went back to work for Domino's again. That was it. That's my first story for National Podcast Posting Month, how fishing ruined my life. Now it's your turn. Give us a call, 607-378-FISH. I need 30 stories, and you don't want 30 of my stories. So that's story number 1. So that's it. That's the whole episode today. It's going to be short the whole month, 4 or 5 minutes long. Boom, we're done. I will drop some regular length episodes within the month as well. So make sure you're tuning in for that. And again, don't forget to participate, get your story right here on the Fish Nerds Podcast.
Whether you're fly fishing in a stream, getting those ankles wet, or deep in the ocean casting nets, fish nerds. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. It's a podcast.
just for the halibut.
Fried in a basket or broiled in a pan. Eat it raw like you're in Siam. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. Fish nerds. It's a podcast.